Before starting into the video, remember how was your childhood? Was it rooted with love, compassion and understanding, isn't it? But have you ever thought of children whose childhood is rooted in full of insecurities, mental trauma and guilt? Yes, they do exist, but they are mostly survivors of sexual violence and victims of human trafficking or sex trafficking. Today, we are going to deal with this sensitive topic of human trafficking or sex trafficking. Everywhere we look today, you can see the advancement of man. I thought how human mind has basically invented, created and built a whole new world. Yet strangely, every time that I have wondered how that same human mind continues to allow the exploitations of children, where many men in the world fly across different countries to buy children for sex, where child trafficking is much worse and prostitution is legal in few cosmopolitan cities around the world. Human trafficking is the fastest growing criminal industry in the world. 50% victims of this human trafficking are children. They are taken in and sold into the world where they are forced to sell their body towards sexual satisfaction of a man. You can find child prostitution in many parts of the world. Many porn industries make hundreds of $millions through this. I was shocked up by the news where 15-year-old girl who was found after 58 videos of her rape and abuse that were posted on the porn website. Later, a 14-year-old Rose Kalamba, a girl who was kidnapped at knife point, raped and assaulted on a camera for 12 hours and had to beg the porn website for months to remove the video of her rape and torture. Porn websites have more than 115 million visits every single day. It has 6 million new videos each year. According to the Internet Watch Foundation, in only 2 years, they processed a confirmed 118 cases of child rape and trafficking on porn website. These are not actors playing a role in the movie. These are real videos of children being sexually abused, violated and traumatized. The human trafficking is fueled by the demand of prostitution. In order to eliminate the human trafficking, we must eliminate the demand of prostitution. Shockingly, many men decide to go fly halfway across the world to buy a child for their sexual urge. Across 1.5 million purchases of sex per day in most of the cosmopolitan cities. Sometimes we are too busy thinking about things what we don't have and that we forget to cherish the blessings we have. In Cambodia, poverty had been a factor driving children into the sex industry. But shockingly, I couldn't understand is how a parent could sell their own child into sex slavery. About 80 to 90% of families are selling their daughters in Cambodia. Helen Swan, a researcher and combating human trafficking in Cambodia since 1999. She carried out a research for the reason why this community is selling their own daughter. Shockingly, reasons were: number 1, it's about poverty. Number 2, selling them for affording luxury items. Number 3, most men don't work and put their daughters into this act every single day. What really began to happen in community, if a woman was expecting a baby, if she had a baby girl, they would say to her, you have scored the jackpot. Now if you have any financial crisis, you got this security asset. Every mother is forced to sell their child by their husband. They are warned to not to think anything about their child, not to love them. For daughters who are pushed into this, believe strongly that it was about an honor relationship with their parents. So because these parents had brought them into the world, they had a debt honor to pay back to their parents for bringing them into the world. I really don't know what kind of society is producing so many men willing to buy a child for sex. A 12-year-old girl, I share you this with a very heavy heart, a 12-year-old girl writes a story in the internet who's a victim of sex trafficking. That her life is ruined, she says she's now a piece of garbage and worthless. And that is such a big statement coming from a teenager who's not supposed to think like that. I think most of us don't understand the gravity of what kids like her have been through. Those words from her writing is so provocative to me. As an 18-year-old, I can't hear such a big statement from a 12-year-old kid. I know so many have done so much against this human trafficking. So many governments, so many countries and representatives done so much. But it is still not enough. And yes, the numbers are overwhelming. Victims are so many children in and around the world. I don't know, will these children have access to higher education? Will they be able to go to college? Will they have a peaceful mindset? And those are the questions society needs to answer. So all of these things are something that we as a society needs to talk about, educate about, create awareness about. Do you know the Indian Child Helpline received more than 92,000 calls asking for protection from abuse and sexual violence in only 11 days of quarantine in India? Know the world around you. You know, being a human is given. We don't have a choice of choosing it, but keeping our humanity is a choice. Why don't we choose humanity?